Hello, little Kenku. You have only just hatched. There will never be more possible adventures for you than now. Hopefully, I get to be a part of some of the ones you choose to take, not just the ones you are forced to be on. For now, I will share some of the adventures that I have helped speak into existence. I don't pretend to be the wisest storyteller, but if I talk enough, eventually something of worth will come out. Join me on this hike while I begin. The first story I want to tell you about is of another hatching. This comes from the Codex, The Birth of Legends. The two prominent figures from the Silver Wardens that you need to know about for this story are Jorg and Valen. Jorg is a young man who found himself on the road to adventure before adulthood. A storm weaver of innate potential, Jorg found himself on a sailing ship where his talents were nurtured. Our second hero is Valen. Opposite of Jorg, Valen is an elderly halfling. He faithfully lived his life with his family among the clansmen as a herder and veterinarian to the flock. It wasn't until he had spent his life hearing legends and retelling myths to his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren that he decided to go have some adventures of his own. Before the Silver Wardens even earned their name, they found themselves investigating a haunted lighthouse. The lighthouse's tale is recounted elsewhere. Incidental to that adventure, the Silver Wardens found themselves attacked by an axebeak, a giant bird with a wedge bill that had its roost upon the lighthouse. At the end of the hero's investigation of the tower, they found an egg within the axebeak's nest. Valen, being the caregiver that he was, took the egg as his responsibility. While not extremely common, it also isn't rare that adventurers find themselves around eggs or neonatal beasts. The rarest and most sought after are draconic, but I've seen attempts at caring for griffins, hippogriffs, blink dogs, and much more. Unfortunately, an adventurer's life can be intense and quick. There isn't always the time or the safety to care for a fragile youth. There is the option of taking time away from adventuring, but many times the present threats and quests are of a more immediate time frame. I did not want that to be the case with this axebeak. Soon after finishing their inquiry into the lighthouse, the Silver Wardens made their way to the Alder Academy. At this independent institute of magic, Valen was able to obtain an enchanted incubation pouch to offer the egg minor protection and ensure that it stayed the proper temperature at all times. Now, the Silver Wardens continued on with their adventures. Eventually, Valen found out for the first time in his long life as a veterinarian the personal excitement of having his water break, for a turn of phrase. Continuing on with their adventures, Valen cared for the hatchling, keeping it warm, regurgitating its food. All in all, a wonderful papa bird. However, there were always plans for more, for when it was big enough to ride or even fly. Most axebeaks are grounded birds, but this is a rare flighted subspecies. The next major adventure that the Silver Wardens undertook was to clear out the ruins of Tolkter. Tolkter had once been a castle during the Age of Heroes, but has since fallen to goblinoids that serve under Marnusht, an elder being of eternal hunger. Silig, the shaman of the clan, was blessed by their elder being to push creatures through time. The process required much food and energy to allow a creature to grow supernaturally quick, but this blessing allowed the goblins to quickly farm animals within the weedwood. Marnusht not only represents eternal hunger, but brings that desire where it goes. This is the part of the story where Jorg comes in. In the aftermath of Tolkter's siege, the talented young sorcerer found Silig's elder altars and his siphon, the rod the shaman used to perform the time manipulations. Through inquiry, previous study, and a healthy dose of luck, Jorg was able to figure out how to perform the rituals. he also began to catch on to the dangers the rituals posed and the complications that may come with them. After their adventures in Tolkter, the Silver Wardens returned to Warden's Hold for but a night before heading back out on the road for another ancient location. Or two. Or three. To be honest, what is in store for the Silver Wardens is still being deciphered in the Codex. What is known, though, is that the little fledged Axebeak is growing at a very normal rate. Despite possible Elder magics to jump the process forward, no attempts have been made. Despite autumn on the wane and winter quickly coming, the Silver Wardens have not taken the time to rest for a while where the little one could grow up some. Both of these possibilities still remain for the future, but the scribes have not yet found it in the script. And perhaps that is for the best. There is excitement for what is to come for the Axebeak. The potential for the little one is still broad. But time is being kept steady for the moment. The future holds much, but there are stories with the Axebeak that can only happen now. This time is just as valid and valuable as tomorrow's is. And for the moment, our heroes are letting that happen. Outside of our codexes are many other myths and legends that are dependent on when in a person's life they happen. Many heroes take on the role as adults, but not all. Some start early, like Jorg, and others start later, like Valen. And when those stories start, can have a great impact on what stories are told. One hero whose adventures are greatly based on time is SpiderMan. Yeah, a bit of a sidestep, but one that I've thought much on. There have been many movie and television series about Spider-Man. Thus far, almost everyone has brought Spider-Man back to high school to start off with. Some quickly move on to college, while others never quite seem to get there. But almost everyone brings him back to school. Most of Spider-Man's comic continuity is well beyond school, and fans have berated this constant return to youth. For me, though, it is this return to youth that Spider-Man needs for new audiences. I encourage a more mature web-slinger for the longtime fans, but new fans need Spider-Man to be a kid. There are already so many adult superheroes. A majority of them are. Most of the kid superheroes find themselves in a sidekick role. But with Spider-Man, you have the kid that is also the independent lead. Sure, Spider-Man has an untouched list of older adventures the new movies and series never touch, but a youthful Spider-Man has stories that the other popular superheroes cannot even have. Some stories are more about the context that they are in rather than the hero fighting their way through them. A youthful Spider-Man has the opportunities to interact with concepts that Captain America and Batman just can't. Whether it is Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, or any other incarnation of the web-slinger, we return to youth because there are stories that can only happen then. Despite the Silver Wardens having multiple opportunities thus far to take their little fledged Axebeak and have him grow up, they haven't yet, and that is okay. There are stories that can only happen right now with him just the way he is. When I shot the video for the hike that you have joined me on while I told this story, I knew you wouldn't get to see the whole thing. While I had a good bit to say, I knew it wouldn't be enough. I even thought of time-lapsing through it so you could see the whole journey. But I don't think that would do either for this ending. How can I honestly say all that I have while speeding you through to the end? If we are appreciating the time that we have, we must also appreciate that there is only so much of it. What time is there must be taken as is. While I hope to be a part of your adventures, I won't be a part of all of them. This is the part of the hike that you have gotten to join me on. There will be others. And so, here is my SendingKenku. You have only just hatched. and that is how it is supposed to be. There will be time for plenty else later. We will wait.